everyone. How are you all? It's very nice to see some of you and to know that some of you are there. I'm going to be very transparent with everyone today, as I was with Thor just a second ago. I was happily working on this presentation that I'm going to share with you today under the complete assumption that it was at 3 p.m. today. Somehow in my Google or my Outlook, it got placed at the wrong time. That being said, I still am very happy to have a chance to talk to you guys a little bit about the work that we've been doing at Ocean School and give you a sneak peek into Ocean School 2.0. My name is Jac Gautreau, and I have the privilege of leading a blended team. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Ocean School, some of this will be old news, but Ocean School is the result of a dynamic partnership between the Ocean Frontier Institute at Dalhousie University and the National Film Board of Canada. We are a team of 9 people who are working on Ocean School. Not all of us, but a good chunk of us since 2016. I'm going to sort of divide what we're going to do today in sort of 4 parts. First, I want to give a little bit of history because I think I can't really talk about Ocean School 2.0 without really giving context to what 1.0 was and why we actually decided that it would be worth thinking of making Ocean School 2.0. I will give you a sneak peek at what we've been working on, and this is a little bit very much about building in public, in the sense that we are at least a month away from launching, soft launching Ocean School. So you're going to see things that aren't finished, but we wanted, in the context of CaNOE, to share with our friends. We know that we're all people working in the context of ocean education. And so we're going to show it to you sort of warts and all, and maybe get some feedback. I do want to, in the third part, talk about one of the things that 2.0 does allow quite well, which is partnerships. We've kind of transformed our product in such a way that we can much more easily partner with people who are making content. And then, of course, there'll be some time for discussion, questions, comments. I am looking forward to having a chance to talk with some of you guys about this. So just a little bit of history. I won't go too deep into this, but Ocean School was the idea of Dr. Boris Worm. He's our scientific director. He's a professor of oceanography at the University of Dalhousie. He had this idea when he was on a trip to Indonesia, where he ran into this situation where there were students learning about the ocean on a ship. And he came back from that trip really motivated to find ways to bring the science that he was doing to a larger audience. And the NFB at that point had just released a project called Space School, and the kismet or fate had that he met with the person who had started building Space School, and they had this idea. For those who know Nova Scotia, they were sitting at Duncan's Cove, looking out at the ocean. It's hard to imagine that they wouldn't come up with something called Ocean School with that view. But they, at that point, decided, hey, it would be interesting to see if we can bring these 2 institutions together and see what we can create. The core objective from the outset was really around ocean literacy, around helping students understand their impact on the ocean's impact on them. And the idea was to do that in such a way that we would use all sorts of storytelling techniques and media to sort of bring the ocean into the classroom and try to get kids to connect to the ocean, no matter where they live, whether they lived on a coast or whether they lived in Regina, give them a way into understanding the role of the ocean and how it connects to them. We went online in October of 2018. Since then, there's been about 400,000 learning sessions hosted on Ocean School. We work as a blended team. There are people who work at Dal, people who work at the NFB. It really is a mix of scientists, of science communicators, of storytellers, of educators, of marketers, all people who really are passionate about bringing this content into classrooms, not only in Canada, but really around the world. I did a little check this morning, and in the last, since launch, there have been visitors to Ocean School from 171 countries. So we never know where things get. And I mean, it's primarily in Canada and the US, but the reality is that it's not geo-blocked, and it is a free online experience. It is destined to remain free, and so on. So when we made Ocean School 1.0, we since making Ocean School 1.0, obviously we've been in contact with users, teachers, educators who've given us all sorts of feedback. And for those who have been on Ocean School 1.0, you'll remember that there were some things involved of having to create an account and log in. And so we learned a lot about what was being very much enjoyed in Ocean School 1.0, which was really around the content, the media, the activities. And then we also, of course, learned what was challenging about using Ocean School in the context of a classroom. And I'll talk a little bit about that context in the context of the pandemic as well. But what we heard back from teachers was, this is really challenging to get 30 students in the classroom to have an account and a login and remember their passwords and all of the things that were involved in that. And the other big feedback we heard was, you have lots of great content, but you're telling these really large stories. And in my classroom, I just don't always have that amount of time to dedicate to using your content. Is there a way for me to be able to customize? Is there a way for you to package things in smaller containers and give us educators some of that flexibility? And so those were some of the guiding principles that we had as we decided, okay, we're going to go from 1.0 to 2.0. The other thing that motivated us, I'll be honest, is that when pandemic started having its impact in March of 2020, we saw both. There was some good news and some bad news for Ocean School, I'd say. The good news was that there was really a thirst out there for good, fact-checked, well-built online content. That was the good news. The more challenging news was the way Ocean School was set up. It was quite challenging for a teacher who was teaching either remotely to navigate all of the sort of infrastructure and things that needed to happen to be able to use Ocean School in the context of their classroom. What we did at that point is that we actually built a sort of a side project that we called Learn from Home, which used simple tools like YouTube and Google site to allow them to experience our content more directly. That was hugely successful, but the Ocean School platform faced the challenges that were linked to teachers not being in the classroom and able to accompany their students. So going into our sort of redesign, we said, okay, well, what have we learned? What are we going to try to apply?
It was on Zoom.
Oh, I'm hearing someone. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, that's all right. It's not a question. If it was a question, don't hesitate if there's anything that's unclear. So our guiding principles going from 1.0 from 2.0 were, first of all, a product that was mobile friendly. We learned during the pandemic, some pretty remarkable statistics around kids' access to the internet, reliable access to the internet at home. In Nova Scotia, for example, we're talking between 40 and 45% of kids whose only real stable access to the internet at home is the parent's cell phone. So our 1.0 product was not mobile friendly. So that was a key criteria. The second criteria was we wanted to apply some accessibility standards, some very high accessibility standards. We wanted the product to be usable by people who were visually challenged or who were hearing impaired. So applying that level of accessibility was a key value for us and something we spent quite a bit of time over the course of the last year and a half implementing. We were lucky enough actually to get some support from Fisheries and Oceans Canada, who were quite responsive to us wanting to achieve that, and they helped support our move towards accessibility. Then, and I would say maybe the major characteristic that teachers told us is we want this to be searchable. You have such great content, but there's too much of it. I can't find always what I need. I need to be able to sort of use it and be able to search. And so that was a key criteria we laid out once we started developing Ocean School 2.0. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Like I say, this is very much about building in public and getting feedback and getting people to know what we've been working on. So I'm going to share my screen. Do I have that power?
Yeah, you are a co-host, so you should be able to share screen. There should be like a button at the bottom.
I have all the power. I do. I have all the power. Okay. Except I don't see what I'm sharing. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, it says dive into learning. It's a.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is what you should be seeing. So this is the new Ocean School homepage. One of the fundamental differences between the Ocean School 2.0 and Ocean School 1.0 is that there is really a teacher educator experience, and then there is a student experience. What you're seeing, what I'm showing you now is the educator experience. It's the place where the educator comes to decide what kind of content, how to access the content, and so on. So I'm just going to navigate slowly through this to give you a sense of what you'll find here. But diving into learning is very much our kind of go-to expression these days. We want people to dive into learning. Of course, you're going to learn a little bit about what Ocean School is. We have a trailer that you can watch and learn more about Ocean School. But here's where it starts getting a little more interesting. These are all collections of content. One of the things that teachers have told us a lot is that they really appreciate us curating for them the content and packaging in a variety of ways. So right away, you're able to dive into the content. Of course, we explain a little bit what you need to do if for the first time you're there. You can select the collection, you can review the resources and the activities that accompany it, and of course, just get into teaching. We've given ourselves some tools as well to explain a bit more about what our mission is. This was really designed with teachers and for teachers. Over the last 2 years, really, we've consulted across the country with teachers, and they've been extremely helpful in helping us define what it should be. Of course, we also have teachers who communicate with us and say, hey, I really enjoyed. So we wanted a place to feature teachers who are using Ocean School and letting them share back the experience that they're having. We talk a little bit about our accessibility because we think that's a key value and want that to be front and center. A little place to brag, and it's time to take the plunge and let the ocean be your classroom. So if you're coming here for the second time, you've seen all this stuff, you want to explore. Right away, you're able to dive into the content in a much more granular way. If you're coming as a 5th and 6th grade teacher, you can search our content using that criteria. If you're a biology, geography teacher, same thing. Or you can just choose to browse all of our content. Once you do that, you're presented with, now, as I say, we're building in public here. There's pictures missing and stuff, but just to illustrate, here are collections that we've built that you're able to navigate to. Again, you're able to still narrow down your search. If you're looking for something that's only 15 minutes long, or 30 minutes long, 45 minutes long, you can just funnel down our content depending on whether you want to do it by grade, by time, by subject, by media type. Because for those who've been in Ocean School, we have linear videos, but we have 360 videos, interactive content, virtual reality, all sorts of things. So you're able to navigate through that. I'm just going to find a collection that's already built here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll search here. We'll just do a search here about salmon. What do we have about salmon? Oh, we don't seem to have anything about salmon. That's weird. Hang on here 1 second. Joys of building in public. Oops. Excuse me, guys. We're going to get there. There we are. No, I'm almost there. That's what I need to do here. There we go. I knew there was some built somewhere here. So all the ways of knowing. This is one of our collections. This is content that we went out and captured in 2018 and 2019 in Bella Bella, British Columbia. This collection is called All the Ways of Knowing. You're able to know it's about, there's some science, there's some Indigenous studies, there's some social studies. So if you're an educator, right away you have a sense of what this is going to be about. You know which grades it's more appropriate for. You have a sense of how big it is. In this case, it's 7 lessons. And if I click on it, it takes me to a much more detailed view of what is included in that collection. In this particular collection, we've got some videos, some interactive content. We've got a newsreel, which connects us to current events, and some more information. So if you're an educator, you can pretty much have an idea, okay, this is what my students will experience if I share this collection with them. Now, when it comes time to share that with them, we've built those tools right into the platform. So if you're an educator and you feel, hey, this is an interesting thing, I'd like to share this with my class, right away, you're able to not only assign it to your class, but you're able to customize which parts of it you want your class to get, which is really something that teachers have let us know it's very important for them. So if this is too much for them, they can unselect some content. They can choose, in Ocean School, every piece of media always has an activity that's been designed to deepen the learning. So you can decide to have the media and not have the activity if you don't have enough time in your classroom to do the whole experience. So full customization for the teacher. Once they've made their decisions, they generate a student link. And if they're a teacher that is using Google Classroom, they can share it directly into their Google Classroom universe. If they're a teacher who uses the Microsoft product, they can share it directly into Teams. And if they're a teacher who uses a different LMS, because one of the things that we've learned over the course of the last 3 years is that there are many, many learning management systems in use in Canada. And I would put a side note that most teachers don't like them, but they use them anyway. If you're using something else than Google Classroom and Teams, you're able to quickly copy this to clipboard. And this is the link that you share with your students. So your students don't have to come to the website and have all this content. They have a much more linear experience where they get presented with the content. They have access to all of their lessons. They have access to the activities that accompany them. They can navigate them. We like to give the students as much choice as we can so they can navigate all this content independently. We have a little over 100 learning objects in Ocean School. So you can obviously search all of this either by individual pieces or by collection. Of course, we want teachers to be, if they discover something they like, we want them to be able to share it with other teachers. So we've built as well tools in there for them to share on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, or by email, or they can copy the link. So we're really looking to get, the teachers and the educators sharing this content, making unique collections that have worked for them, and to be able to easily share it from one classroom to another, or from one school to another, or a school board to. So this brings me to sort of one of the things I really wanted to talk about in this particular context is that, as we're talking to CaNOE and other ocean educators, one of the ways we've built this is to, yes, we're continuing to create content, but you can also imagine that we will be able to partner with content creators to create collections in partner with them. So if you're out there creating a collection about something or creating media and you're interested in making it available to students in our sort of within the Ocean School audience, it's become really easy for us to host or to create collections and allow you to host on your sites, and increase our ability to partner. So you're going to see more and more. We're already partnering with Green Learning, with the Hakai Institute. So people who are out there creating content and who want to get to this audience, we're building together some content that we can share. So I'm going to unshare my screen here. We're a Teams users, not a Google Zoom users. So Lauren, remind me how I unshare.
I think there should be right where you pressed a button to share the screen. It should say to stop sharing on the toolbar at the bottom.
That's very strange. It's giving me a toolbar that I've never seen before. Hang on, stay with me here. Okay, there we go. So that is kind of what I wanted to share with you guys today. I'm interested in your feedback, your comments, your reactions, your interest in seeing, if this is something you could see yourself partnering with. I see some of my team in here. I also see Holly George, who's one of our youth hosts inside of Ocean School. Holly, nice to see you. But I'll open the floor up for questions, comments, and discussion at this point. If you want to, join or turn on your cameras and have a conversation. I see Andy as well. Nice to see you, Andy. DFO has been a big supporter of Ocean School. We appreciate that very much.
I can stop the recording here if that's okay with everybody.